Hey everybody, it is Chris Brown, a real estate professional and marketing entrepreneur. I'm trusting everyone is having a great day. We have another episode of State of the Real Estate Market. Lots to talk about, as there always is. You know, what's going on, what's going to happen in the market. Well, you guys are tuned into the right place. So if this is your first time tuning in, this is not only a platform where we talk about buying, selling, or investing in real estate, but we also talk about building generational wealth and also hot entrepreneur topics that are out there. So if you haven't, go ahead, like, subscribe, always hit that notification button as well, because you'll get the latest and greatest of what's happening and what's going on. So let's tune in. So jumping in, so we're going to do a different format today. So the format, what we're going to do is kind of review what's been going on, what some of the news is. A lot of people have been asking me and sending me messages in regards to what should we expect for the rest of the year. Basically, guys, we don't know. So we don't know what exactly is going to happen for the rest of the year. We know it is an election season. As I've mentioned in the past to you guys, it's always a challenge when you have the election season. Election season always impacts gas prices. So we're looking at gas prices, seeing where they are. They're up from what they were. They're fluctuating from week to week. At some point, we should probably experience a much higher price point. That's what the trend has been in past election years or past election seasons, especially for the presidential. So that obviously happens every 4 years, guys. So with that being said, anticipate that. We'll keep an eye on it just to see if those trends stay the same. It's everything since the pandemic has not stayed the same. So it gives us an opportunity to kind of see what's going to happen. We have had the fluctuation of the gas prices where they were much lower than what they are now. But let's see if that's going to continue to be the same. And then as we get closer to election season or the actual election itself, see those prices really come down. So tuning in. So there's so many different articles that are going on out there. As I mentioned before, people have been asking me about what to expect for the rest of the year. Interest rates are still up there. There's been a couple of articles that I've been following regards to following the Fed, see if they're going to cut the interest rates or not. I know there's obviously with the Fed still contemplating inflation and trying to determine and trying to maneuver that so that prices don't go sky high or things just don't fall into play because of inflation. It's impacted so many. It's been a domino effect, actually. It's been a domino effect of how inflation's affected the economy. But we're keeping an eye on it, seeing what the Fed's going to do. I'm sure you guys an article that just recently came out about Jerome Powell and his anticipations of the interest rates, and if it's anything that's new news or just same news, so to speak. All right, home prices, are there ups and downs? Now, I have been seeing reports of prices coming down, and not only with resale, but also in the new construction. I'm going to show you guys an article about that as well. We'll talk about an article. And this, like I said, guys, this is all information that I've researched. This isn't something that I'm just making up. So this stuff is coming from the different economists that are out there, again, paid buku dollars to determine what's going to happen in the economy. I think a number of them have gotten things wrong. You know, we had a lot of anticipations, especially with the spring season around that we were going to have a booming we're going to have a return of the housing market, anticipations of the inflation decreasing, but it was always on the back burner saying, hey, you know, we should expect this to happen when inflation rates decrease, and we should see the housing market regenerate itself in some kind of way. And that quite has not happened. So that's always something that we're keeping an eye on. So one of the articles that I did come across, this is in Newsweek, guys, that says housing market gets good news about a critical problem. So if you guys recall from past, those who've been following me from past podcasts that I've released, I mentioned that, hey, we're going to have an inventory situation. We do have an inventory situation. What is going to happen, with the inventory, and how does it impact things? So the article starts off by saying the number of new home finishing construction soared in June. And this is data that came from the U.S. Census Bureau, showed on Wednesday, boosting the housing sector struggling to keep up with demand. So with us having such a decrease in inventory and having an inventory shortage, what's been a future problem that they're looking at is that, are we going to have enough homes to actually satisfy people? How are home sales going to be impacted by this if we have this shortage? So at some point, there has been a situation where there has been an inventory shortage. I'm even going through it right now with a number of clients. I have a number of sellers that are on the fence thinking about if they should sell their home or not sell their home. And then if they do sell their home, where they're going to go to next. So they're actually just sitting in place. Then you have situations where you have buyers, they are looking for homes, but they don't have a lot to choose from, specifically if they're looking at resale. And then when they're looking at other properties, the other sector of the housing market that is receiving additional eyes is the new construction. Now, new construction may experience a higher demand just because some folks are like, well, hey, what do you have since I don't see anything else out on the market? But then it's like also, what have they actually built? We've transitioned from having, a lot of builders have transitioned from having multiple properties in the pipeline getting ready to be built or being ready to be completed. And there being plenty of buyers to be able to satisfy that move ahead demand. Nowadays, the demand is much lower on the buyer side. So when they are actually trying to build these homes, they're being very specific in looking at the data to see what is the buyer's interest. So that's definitely another report that I keep an eye on, just trying to see what the buyer interest is, because if the buyer's interest is high, then builders will build. But the interest is high in the buyer, but the interest rates are kind of high. And so the demand is there, but the interest rates are high. So it's just like they can't afford the home that they're looking to afford, or they're just not wanting to pay the interest rates that are out there right now. And you have those who just want to wait on the fence because they feel that these interest rates are going to drop significantly. Now, do I believe that the interest rates will drop? At some point, they will drop. Now, will they return back to the 3% that we saw? I don't anticipate that happening, but I do see that the interest rates dropping a significant amount to start increasing the purchasing power of buyers, and buyers having an additional interest in getting it home. A lot of folks are paying these high rental rates, and paying the high rental rates. They're like, hey, I need to be owning a home versus renting a home. And that's what's going to happen moving forward. A lot of people are feeling that way. They're just waiting for these rates to drop. But as I've told a lot of people, if you're in a position to actually purchase a home, you have significant reason of why you need to purchase a home, go ahead and do so. I have people that are moving. You have individuals that have lived in their home for a number of years. They want to move closer to their kids, their grandkids. That may be around town, that may be out of state. So with that being said, those demands are still there, as in why people actually have to sell their home. There's usually a story nowadays. Nowadays, there's usually a story greater than, hey, I want to see how much money I can get for my home. There's usually a story that backs up the situation as to why someone is actually looking to sell their home. So continuing on with that same article, it said last month saw the completion of privately owned housing skyrocket by 10% to 1.7 million compared to May, previous month there. The June numbers were 15.5% higher than a year ago when completion stood about 1.5 million. So all of that said, just to say that they're seeing an increase. So from May to June, they saw an increase. By the end of June, they saw the increase in numbers there. So that means that projects are being completed. So people that were renting, they're actually transitioning into an actual home. Now that process is taking a little bit longer than it has in the past. And this is why this particular article came out, because it's letting you know that, hey, I know that we said that we had inventory shortage, but here's some positive news to show you that, hey, people are finally starting to get into their homes. But trust me, they've probably been in the pipeline, and their home is probably been in the process for at least 6 months. So keep that in mind. Even though it's happening now at this point in the year, where they're finally moving in, you're starting to see a bit more movement. They've been in the process a while. So like I tell everybody else, if you're in the process or you're in the market thinking about getting home, go ahead and start the process now. Understand where you stand, so that you can have a better idea of how much purchasing power you do have. So when the rates do drop, you understand where it's going to place you. And if you have to purchase, try to do so before these interest rates drop. Because once they do drop, what's going to happen is there's going to be a higher demand of buyers. And when those buyers come into the market, that means there's going to be more competition. More competition means that we're going to start seeing a little bit more multiple offers on similar properties because we have low inventory. So if there's low inventory and you have more interest, everybody's going to start looking at the same properties. And what happens, those sellers want to get the top dollar for that home. So keep that in mind if you are considering jumping back into the housing market. So another tidbit with that same particular article from Newsweek, the housing market has grappled with available inventory, which experts say has contributed to a rise in prices. Demand and supply, little economics. Some housing economists have suggested that the U.S. is millions of homes behind meeting market demand. So that's what economists are saying right now, that we are millions of homes behind what the current demand is. So current demand is there. And keep in mind, what about the interest rates? Interest rates are high. So if there's a strong demand now and we're behind, imagine what's going to happen once those rates drop. You're going to have more people, more buyers coming into the market, and you're going to have more sellers willing to sell their current home to be able to purchase a new home. So keep that in mind. Another tidbit that I wanted to kind of talk to you guys about with the Feds, what's going to happen. Fed Chair Jerome Powell wouldn't say when the first rate cut would occur, but economists say it could be September. So we're in July right now. Will it be in September? I don't know. A cut could impact the mortgage rates, because if we have a significant cut, and it's not a one-time cut, because you want to make sure that there's a cut and you have a consistency of it trending downwards, because then once that happens, then you're going to start seeing those interest rates drop to a percentage that people like. Buyers are going to start coming into the market. Or if you're already in the process and you get a dip in those rates, you'll go ahead and jump on board. So like I said, go ahead and stay ready so you don't have to get ready when this process does occur, because it's going to happen. It's like I said, we're in the election season, and a lot of our individuals that we have that's running, that's a big topic. Everybody has that question as in how is it going to impact them? What are they going to do in order to attack this issue? Because it's a nationwide issue right now. Interest rates are high. Homes aren't as affordable as they have been. People aren't purchasing homes. There's an inventory shortage. The prices are high. What is going to be done? So in regards to what are the Feds going to do? We still don't know. Rates are still up there. We don't have any major cuts that we should anticipate. But economists are saying we may see something in September. Like I said, we're going to see some action here in these next couple of months as we get closer to election time. And that's my personal opinion, but I'll continue to follow this to kind of give you guys the feedback to see if that's truly going to be true. We're going to have some action or you got to encourage the people. How are they going to encourage the people? This would be a big one. If they can get the Feds to get those rates to drop, and we start seeing interest rates for housing to drop as well, that brings about a great opportunity. And I don't know, somebody may be able to do that. We'll see what happens. But definitely pay close attention to that as we move forward. Another update I want to make sure that you guys are aware of, because a lot of people who have been thinking about getting into the market. Those who are in the Florida market, there's a specialized program, and those who aren't in the Florida market, there's always different types of programs that are out there for potential buyers. But a big one that's in the state of Florida is called Hometown Heroes Program. That portal is open. I did receive a notification that it is open. Now, how does that work? I can't say that it's going to be open forever. It is a certain amount of funds in there, but basically, in short, program details entitled "Eligible Full-Time Workforce Employed by a Florida-based employer can receive lower than market interest rates on an FHA, VA, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac first mortgage. Received reduced upfront fees. It's not a bad deal. No origination points or discount points, down payment, and closing cost assistance. So it's a lot of benefits that are for this, especially if you are, and it's more specific to our workforce, a full-time workforce. So that's what we call our Hometown Heroes program. So we have a lot of nurses that are out there in the medical field. We have firefighters. We have all those first responders and individuals that are looking to purchase. It's a great opportunity that's out there. Borrowers can receive up to 5% of the first mortgage loan payment, so a maximum of $35,000. And now, 5% of the first mortgage loan amount. I said payment, loan amount. So keep that in mind in down payment and closing cost assistance. So that's a big deal. 5% is a significant amount, because I know a lot of, when I'm working with buyers or even talking to my sellers, as in how much are they going to be flexible with, they'll say anywhere between 2 to 3%. So if you can get 5%, that's just from government backing. You don't have to ask a seller for as much. Down payment and closing assistance available in the form of a 0 non-amortized 30-year deferred second mortgage. So those who are always asking, hey, I don't have enough money saved up for my down payment. Well, did you know that there's a program out there? If you qualify for the Hometown Heroes program, there's a program that will cover your down payment. Now, obviously, it is something that gets paid back, but it's on a deferred 30-year mortgage with, 0% non-amortized. So it's not free money, but it is lent money with no interest. So keep that in mind. Now, for those who aren't aware, there are still down payment programs that are out there where that money is free if you stay in the home for a certain amount of time. So those programs are still out there. Those are down payment assistance program. That's something that I show a lot of individuals who aren't familiar with, getting this type of assistance. Just send me a message and I'll send you a link to a program where you'll be able to find that information. If you have a property address, basically you just enter the property address and it'll show you for the different programs that specific home qualifies for. So it's a great program, definitely something to look at. But like I said, Hometown Heroes program is back in action, guys. So if you are a hometown hero and you are in the market right now, make sure you look into that particular program. Now, high rates restrain builder confidence. So with the builder confidence, if you guys recall, this is something I've definitely have been following since the beginning of time. I want to say for the past couple of years, just because you want to know when the builder confidence is high, that means that there's a high interest. People are actually going through the process, submitting loan applications and so forth along those lines. So one of the indexes that I follow is called the National Association of Home Builders. I follow this because it gives me a better idea of what is going on in the market and how builders are building. So you see a lot of builders out there, they're going to follow the data just because they're spending millions and millions of dollars when they're doing different projects and when they're getting projects started. Because if they don't follow this data, what typically happens is that they're going to start getting billed for homes that people aren't moved into. So this is something that they truly follow, and they follow this information so that they know how many homes to start building on. So this particular article says high rates restrain builder confidence. Builder confidence in July was down slightly, but the total inventory remains at a 4.4 supply, indicating a need of more new home construction. Got to have options out there, guys. So there is restraints that are out there because of these interest rates. Like I said, it creates a domino effect. It's not so much the mortgage rates, but it's also as in how builders operate. They're not going to give you a whole bunch of supply if the demand isn't really there. So if you pay attention to this builder confidence, you'll find out that when that is low, they're not building as much. But when it's high, they're building a lot more because they know that they're going to meet that demand with the amount of inventory that they'll have someone. Basically, if they build, the people will be there. So sometimes they say, if you build it, they'll come. Well, they don't like to play that game that much. So they want to make sure that people are going to actually come and purchase those homes. You'll find out a lot of builders now, they won't even start building until they actually have the interest of the actual buyer. And that usually requires a significant amount of a down payment. So those who are in that process of getting grants and so forth to go towards the down payment, you may not be able to do that because it's going to require upfront money. And usually with that grant money, they don't give it to you upfront. They pay it when it's time for closing. So that's where it can be a little bit of a challenge sometimes for first-time home buyers who are leaning on those type of programs. So keep in mind, builders are continuously finding ways to have different incentives to encourage buyers to come and actually purchase from them. So keep in mind of that, even though I'm telling you this information, if you guys have builders that are in your area, or you're working with a real estate professional, find out what's going on. Ask them, ask your real estate professional. What I typically do is have my clients actually register with an actual builder, so with a couple of different builders, and I'll have them do it through me. And it's more specifically through your real estate professional. You want to do it through them so that everyone is connected and everyone is on the same page and understands that whole complete process. All right, so following in line with the whole critical problem, found this piece of the article to be very intriguing. Put this up here. Let's see. Okay, so lack of supply and higher prices have been two core obstacles buyers have confronted when trying to purchase a home. These are things that you guys know. This is stuff that I've been telling you guys for months and months, probably well over a year now. High prices, high interest rates, low inventory. Along with elevated borrowing costs from home loans, recent trends suggest that rates are declining and expectations have heightened the Federal Reserve that the Federal Reserve may begin further slashing interest rates by September. So this is another economist that is still thinking that September is going to be that time. I would love to tell you, yes, there's going to be that time. However, we know that we need to pay attention to the situation. You know, we all wish and hope that it does happen because that means people are actually going to be purchasing homes during that time. Right. So that's kind of a wrap up for this month. Just kind of keeping everybody in the loop of what is actually going on. It's always a challenge to kind of see what's happening in today's market, but you know, as the information comes in, we're paying attention. And I know the election year has been comical slash a whole bunch of other stuff going on. But that's the world we live in. And we just got to understand how to roll with the punches. So with that being said, you know, I hope you guys all well. I hope this information helps someone, or if you know of someone who could utilize this information, someone that you may know that's thinking about selling their home, feel free to pass this information on to them. As well as those who are thinking about purchasing a home. There's different things that are out there. There's different markets that are out there. Not all markets are the same. So keep that in mind. Once again, thank you for tuning in to State of the Real Estate Market. This is the July edition. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Be sure to like, subscribe, as well as hit that notification button. I want to make sure that you guys stay in the loop of what is going on in today's real estate market. Signing out. Thank you, guys. Take care.